Boy, oh boy, it's going to be a fun season. The Heat did not get the win tonight against the Spurs. They lose 107-101. For the Spurs, it's their fifth straight win to start the season. They're the hottest team in the league, not just the West. The Heat fall to 3-2. After the game, we hear Eric Spoelstra talk about how securing rebounds late was the difference in this one, just not making enough pivotal plays. But you got to give Miami some credit. Down Norman Powell, of course, without Tyler Herro and with a banged up Nico, the Heat still kept it close. A huge run on the back end of the fourth quarter. We're going to get into all of that and more with the Miami Heat season opening up 3-2. Still optimistic, still excited about this thing. And today we're giving you all you can Heat with Theo Dorsey. As always, we're presented by Robinhood. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today on Robinhood at robinhood.com/yourmoney. Take care of your money. Take care of your bread. And what Eric Spoelstra was telling the fellas afterwards was take care of possessions, and games like this won't end in subtle losses to championship contenders. And I do think that's what the Spurs officially are. I know that the only real veteran that they're starting is Harrison Barnes, but when you got a 7'5" freak in Wemby, I don't care that it's year 3. You got back-to-back Rookie of the Year winners in Stephon Castle and Victor Wembanyama. I think they might have back-to-back-to-back because Dylan Harper looks like a budding – like he looks like – let's not forget they're playing without De'Aaron Fox right now. He looks like what De'Aaron Fox kind of reminded me of in his rookie year with a little bit more defensive prowess. So I am absolutely petrified on the eve of Halloween of what the Spurs can be, but it's not about that today. I want to focus on the Miami Heat. That's what you come here for. Again, for those that don't know, I'm with ESPN West Palm, theoretically speaking, 2 o'clock daily on ESPN 106.3, and I've been a Heat fan ever since I grew up in Houston, Texas. It dates back a long time. I'll give you those boring details another time here on All You Can Heat, but for tonight, it was all about the battle of two bigs, Bam Adebayo for the Miami Heat versus Victor Wembanyama, the prodigy, the alien. And I will say, Wemby got the best of Bam in the end. He made enough plays, mostly key down the stretch in the fourth quarter. But I like what the Heat did to stymie Wemby throughout the game. It worked early. The Spurs found answers. Of course they would. I love Mitch Johnson as a coach early on in his tenure here, filling in big shoes for Pop. But Bam Adebayo did pretty decently. And if you didn't see it, I was telling Dolphins fans all day today on Theoretically Speaking, I know Thursday Night Football is going to be a bit painful to get through, and it was. Ravens win 28-6. It was a little ugly. It wasn't even that close. I said, make sure you have a double screen going at the very least and check in on those Miami Heat, the number 1 offense in the nation, the team who also boasts the fastest pace, one of the most fun watches early on in the season, and you're going to see some great plays. Because it's not just the Heat, it's going up against Wemby. And we're going to talk now about the Bam Adebayo versus Wemby matchup. And before the game, reporters were asking Bam about, is it mesmerizing being around a human being with such size as Wembanyama, with such a presence? He's 7'5". Bam like, dude, it's the NBA. We face big dudes all the time. Like, Bam is 6'10". Wemby's 7'5". It's a 6 or 7 inch height difference. It's not his first time going up against somebody big. And by the way, I didn't want to break NBA protocol, especially now with the good people of Robinhood supporting this show. I don't want to lose their trust so early on. But take a look at this. See, I wanted to play the video for y'all of the Bam posterization of Wemby, but instead I gave you a freeze frame because I'm a smart company man. Bam, taking it to the gut of Wemby, elbow to the chest, right arm lifted up. He zipped by him on the baseline here. Now, mind you, for those Dolphins fans, I told you all, and if you're just listening to this via audio, I'm showing the Bam dunk over Wemby when he took him baseline just before the second half. The Thursday Night Football game, Dolphins-Ravens, right before the second half, right before halftime of both of these games happened at the same time. Here's another angle of Bam finishing the dunk, by the way. The games were about to go to half at the same time, and as Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins were throwing the ball away to end the first half, Bam was doing things like this to end the first half for the Miami Heat. And then we'll do a quick look at the box score for the game before we break it down quarter by quarter and then look ahead for the Heat as they're about to get ready for this West Coast trip a little trip to LA to play the Lakers and the Clippers, or whatever's left of the Clippers. Take a look at this. We have Andrew Wiggins, big showing tonight in the absence of the shooting of Norm Powell. He gives you another good showing here. 24 points, 6 boards. Bam Adebayo against Wemby. I told you Bam held his own, and I meant it. He was +7 on the night. In fact, many of the Spurs' big runs happened when Bam went to the bench. Now, some of that might have been coincidental, but a lot of it has to do with his presence defensively on the floor. And look at that number right there. We're going to be watching. I'm on Bam watch all season long for 3-point attempts. 13 3-point attempts from Bam Adebayo. People, I got to take the box score down for a second. Let me take the box score down. We got 13 3-point attempts from Bam Adebayo in a real NBA game. That's Steph Curry level. I don't care how many of them he makes. We have been begging for Bam, who has shown an increase in his shooting touch since he stepped into the league, especially from the free throw line, and he keeps extending it and extending it. It's year 28 of the Bam Adebayo experience in Miami right now. I say jokingly. But in all honesty, it feels that way. And in the absence of Jimmy, in an offense that Eric Spoelstra has masterfully drawn up, and he told me, he was kind of coy with me on media day talking about what they were cooking up behind closed doors, and now I see why, because it took the league by storm so far. The Spurs found a good way to stymie it, but in the presence of this pace and space, just catch the ball and go, fast-breaking offense, Bam is confidently pulling three-pointers at a high clip. 4 for 13. I don't care how many he misses. I love this. I hope he shoots 10 a game on this West Coast trip over the next few games. I just like seeing him shoot it like that, making the defense respect him. And there were a lot of times where the Spurs had to close out hard, and that'll create some opportunities for him to counter and do a little dribble drive action, as well as dishing it to guys like Jaime Jaquez Jr. and Fontecchio, who by the way, what a steal. Simone, that dude there, his slashing and his ability to hit threes. Everything about this Heat offense is fun. And it all starts with Bam Adebayo being the guy he is. Again, if you look at Bam's stat line, he was the guy for the Heat tonight overall. He was still able to put up good numbers despite having to go up against 7'5" Wembanyama. He put up 27 shots. He had 31 points, 10 boards, 3 assists. On the other side for Victor Wembanyama, 27 points, 18 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 blocks. I don't know if you guys have paid attention, but he's on pace, and they talked about it on the broadcast tonight. He's on pace to break Mark Eaton's record from the Utah Jazz in blocks per game in a season. That was 5.5. He's right at about 5.5 on the year. I will say the whole first half, the Heat held him blockless, but when the game got tight and the Heat were forced to attack him, it did get a little sticky, and he got his hand on the ball a few times. One of those was a goaltend against Jaime Jaquez Jr. in the first or late in the first half, but a lot of those were clean, and that's what you get when you have a guy with an 8-foot wingspan and the agility of a cat. Like Victor Wembanyama is a cheat code. The matchup, the thing I liked most about the way in which the Heat stayed on Wembanyama on defense, but then also attacked him offensively, was at times they used his length against him, going right into his chest. There was a play in the second quarter, I believe, where Andrew Wiggins wisely gave him a shoulder to the chest and a step through and finished with the right on him. Like, they were really attacking right at the heart. And that's what you got to do with a shot blocker, especially a frail one. And clearly the Heat had a lot of answers to what people have not been able to do in the first few games against Wembanyama. Stephon Castle was really good for the Spurs tonight, hitting a lot of open jumpers. You had guys like Johnson for the Spurs, who I've always been up and down on Keldon Johnson and what he could be in this league, but he hit a couple of key shots for the Spurs as well. One big three-pointer in the second half. This game, though, didn't just boil down from a Wemby versus Bam matchup. It wasn't just won or lost with the bigs and the superstars, the big names. It came down to the Miami Heat having some closing time questions. And that's what I want to get to here as we look at the game flow. First quarter, pretty even back and forth. You look at the second quarter as the Heat kind of made some things shake. And I'm starting to think, hey, we're going to walk out of here with a win. The Heat are going to be 4-1. with a big-time win over a Western Conference foe that you expect to see late in the season. But it was that third quarter, man. Heat win the halftime down by 1 point, 59-58. To start the third quarter, the Spurs go on a 10-0 run. This is the time where I first kind of struck a light bulb, and I'm like, man, the Heat could use a guy like Norman Powell right now, like Tyler Herro, a guy that can get his shot when things slow down in the half court, which has been one of the biggest issues for Miami over the past few years, which is why I've been so excited about this up-tempo, pace and space kind of offense where they've been flying up and down the court and getting shots up early. You don't get bogged down if you get shots up early. But that's what happened early in the third. Wiggins finally ended the drought with a three and another score later in the possession. Fontecchio, he had a huge offensive board and a kick out to Davion Mitchell to get the offense going late in the third. But the Heat would end the third quarter with their worst quarter so far of the season. If anybody asks you the story of the game, it was not getting key rebounds late in the game, similar to the Magic loss, game one of the season. But then also in the third quarter, where the Spurs took complete control of the game, the Heat only scored 14 points. Outscored 28-14 in the third. Can't do it, man. You can't do that against a team like the Spurs who are young and energetic, and they didn't have light legs late in the fourth. They were able to close the thing out. So the Spurs went up 15, 87-72 to end the third quarter. The Heat had one of those droughts that we've seen, we've come to love and know. At the end of the third, they didn't score for the last 3.5 minutes. And then in the fourth quarter, hope restored. 17-1 run in the fourth quarter. Bam Adebayo. He capped off that run with a tip-in over Wembanyama. He was getting position on him all night long, except after the 17-1 run, after the Heat take that lead, and Bam is still pulling threes confidently. Again, the presence of Tyler Herro or a guy like Norman Powell, neon Norman Powell, who is green light from anywhere on the court for the Heat, it was missed. And the Spurs showed they had more guys that can be trusted with the ball in their hands to go and create a play for themselves, and especially in the half court when things are slowed down, and they were able to close it out. 107-101 was the final in this one. I still leave this game believing the Heat are fun, sure, but more importantly, I'm confident that this kind of style, especially based on how I saw the Pacers be able to get away with it and make a deep run literally into the NBA Finals. I don't care how injury depleted the East was last year. They played a very altruistic style of basketball, a very fast-paced style that Rick Carlisle led. And I do believe a lot of what the Heat are doing right now, there's no way Spo wasn't paying attention to that and not picking up little notes on, okay, we have the kind of athletes, we have the kind of guys that are very generous about not only getting their own touches and confident enough to do so, but also allowing other people to get off. It's a very everybody eats offense. And I do think that this is something that could last. It's got some staying power. The Heat could have won this game tonight on the road. And again, without Herro and without Norman Powell. So the bigger takeaways here is, yes, the answer to the question, is this real? It is. The Heat are going to be a good team in the East. The Heat, I expect to be a top 4 or 5 seed at the worst. And I think at their best, they can be the 2 seed. They can land the 2. Why not the 1? Why not the 1 seed and home court advantage through the Eastern Conference? This is not Homer Theo talking. This is 5 games into the season knowing that Spo has answers for whatever riddles that other teams think that they're going to be able to throw at the Heat throughout the season as well. This is me counting on and banking on a experienced Erik Spoelstra in his 18th season with the Heat, counting on and banking on a continued budding of talent from some of these young guys, as Jaime Jaquez Jr. has this somewhat of a revelation in his third year coming off of a bad sophomore slump. Khalil Ware ascending as a talent in this league. Bam Adebayo continuing to get more and more confident shooting the 3 ball. Like, there's a lot of things to glean and be glad for the Heat, even in a loss like that. So it's a West Coast trip coming up. You got the Lakers, you got the Clippers, you got the Nuggets. I am intrigued to see what this team looks like against those Denver Nuggets, especially in the altitude as they've been pushing the pace. But at the very least, we do know that this is the real deal. The Heat have given us something that we're going to be proud of and excited to watch all year long. And I will say, before we get out of here, all you can Heat. Yeah, one more time. Big time. If you're listening on audio, I'm sorry. This is for my YouTube folks. This is my people watching with video. The Bam Adebayo slam on Victor Wembanyama, your highlight of the night. I just needed one more look at that before we got on out this door. 107-101. Spurs win it. Recording this on a Thursday night right after the loss, and I am still happy. And I'm still giving you all you can Heat with Theo Dorsey. And again, it's always presented by Robinhood. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at robinhood.com/yourmoney. Next time I talk to you, you'll be on Theoretically Speaking on a Friday at 2 o'clock. So make sure you tap in on that as well. Download the ESPN South Florida app to continue to get these, as well as comment, subscribe, like, share. Let me know. What do you think of the Miami Heat 5 games in? What is your first 5-game sample size? What is your characterization of what you believe this season to be? To me, through 5 games, I am locking it in that this is the top 5 team in the East. What say you? Drop it in the comments and let me know. We'll see you next time on All You Can Heat.